Right, new this morning, the effort to establish new rules for homeschooling in our state is moving forward. Lawmakers in the House passed a bill while most of you were probably sleeping.
Yeah, supporters say it will keep children safe, but not everyone on board with this new plan. Your reporter Taylor Knight live outside the Capitol in Hartford for us, explaining what would change if the bill is officially signed into law. Taylor.
Well, lawmakers were here until almost midnight voting on this bill, and they were not alone. Parents who homeschool their children were also here, and they say that they feel targeted by this bill. Right now, Connecticut is the only state without any oversight laws when it comes to homeschooling. The bill passed by the state's House of Representatives last night aims to change that. The measure would create a formal state framework for what it calls equivalent instruction or homeschooling. Under this bill, parents would have to tell the school district whether their child will attend public school, private school, or be educated at home. Families using homeschooling would also have to show a demonstration of instruction each school year, which could include a portfolio of student work, test results, or other academic records. The bill also requires a DCF check when a parent wants to withdraw a child from public school to homeschool. If a parent has an active case with the Department of Children and Families or is on the DCF abuse registry, they would not be able to homeschool. But opponents say this bill goes too far and unfairly targets homeschooling families. The bill will now go to the state Senate for a vote, and that's expected to happen sometime next week. Your reporter live in Hartford, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Taylor, thank you.